Welcome to NJIT Math Podcast today. My name is Tao Ling and I'll try to explain to you how to do multiplication and division of rational expressions. So let's look at an example. So here we see two fractions of polynomials multiplying. Okay, so we want to find out what's the result of the multiplication. So when you see this, the first step you should do is try to factor the polynomials into a simplest form, the most basic factors possible. So let's try to do that. That's the first step, is to factor x squared plus 3x plus 2 into two smaller polynomials into its factors. So you should remember this from the previous section of factoring trinomials. Okay, so x squared plus 3x plus 2 should equal to x plus 1 multiplied by x plus 2. Okay, now let's look at x cubed plus 3x. We can factor an x out, so it will become x times x squared plus 3. This multiplies by, the other side is 2x cubed plus 6x. We can factor out 2x. This will become x squared plus 6, plus 3 actually, because when you take out 2x from 6x, you have 3 left. So now x squared plus x minus 2, and also by factoring trinomials, we got x plus 2 and x minus 1. Okay, so that's the first step. The first step is always try to factor all the polynomials into the simplest term possible. Okay. Now the second step would be, after you do the factoring, you try to cancel out all the similar terms in the numerator and denominator. So what does that mean? Well, you see that in numerator you have x plus 2, right? And in the denominator you also have x plus 2. So if you have the same term in both the numerator and denominator, you can cancel them out. So x plus 2 and x plus 2 is gone. You can only do this when everything is multiplied together. So see, you have x plus 1, x plus 2 multiplied by 2x multiplied by x plus 3, x squared plus 3, and then the denominator there is all multiplication also. This is the only time you can cancel terms out. So x squared plus 3, you see, it also has a counterpart in the denominator, so that's gone. Now x, and here is another x, so that's gone too. So let's write the remaining term. We have x plus 1 multiplied by 2. In the denominator we have only x minus 1 left. And guess what? This is the answer. Okay? That's all there is to it. So, two steps. The first step is try to factor out all the polynomials into the simplest term possible. And the second step is to cancel out the similar terms. So let's look at, this is a multiplication of two fractions. Now let's look at a different example. It's divisions of two rational expressions. So it's 3x squared. This is in the book, page 52, if you have the college algebra textbook. So this one expression divides by the another rational expression. Okay, so this we have to use a knowledge we learned before. When you have one fraction divided by another fraction, it's the same as you have one fraction multiply by the inverse of another expression. Okay, inverse of the other fraction. So that means this term the fractions in the numerator dividing by the fractions in the denominator is the same as the fraction in the numerator multiply by the inverse of the fractions in the denominator. So the inverse of that should be, we just flip the denominator and the numerator. It becomes, okay? So it's the same thing except that the numerator and the denominator are switched. So when you do that, it's the same as the previous problem. So let's just follow the two steps. The first step is to factor out all the polynomials into the simplest term possible. So 3x squared plus 11x minus 4 should factor into x plus 4. And 3x minus 1. ax cubed minus 40x squared, you should be able to factor out x squared. So it becomes x minus 5. Okay? Multiply by 4x to the 4th power minus 20x cubed. Should be able to factor out 4x cubed. So it becomes x minus 5 again. And 3x plus 12, we should be able to factor out the 3. So it becomes x plus 4. Okay? So after that, we can start canceling out terms. Well, x minus 5 and x minus 5. X plus 4 and x plus 4. Okay? Now we have 8x, well, we have x squared and x cubed. We should be able to factor out both the x, factor out the x squared, but the x cubed would still have a remaining x, because x cubed divided by x squared is x. Okay? And then 4 and 8, we can factor that out, and 8 become a 2. Okay? So the final answer will be 3x minus 1 multiplied by x, and the denominator would have 2 times 3, which gives you 6. And that's the answer. So thank you for watching, and good luck on your study.